Everyone knows the secret to success in the entertainment industry has nothing to do with making good entertainment. For every individual standout creation or talent on display, there's hundreds of productions and producers out there whose entire aim is to leech onto what's already proven to work and wring its neck for every filthy nickel that can fall out of it like a piñata of moral and creative bankruptcy. In the realm of appeasing people for profit, numbers rule the day over ever even considering any form of individual emotional response. Look at the very website I'm posting this to. No matter how obscure, interesting, or offbeat a topic a creator like myself can wrangle, it's forever going to be dominated by relatable memes, wealth masturbation, and reactionary commentary on flavor of the month topics by people that you, the audience, for some reason trust on a personal level, despite never interacting with them off camera in any capacity. And when something novel does occasionally break through, it will be digested by those same systems to regurgitate them into pale imitations of themselves, all for the sake of someone unrelated deciding how to better flatten them out for a wider audience. Most often just to put $1 in their own pocket rather than any organic drive to share things with the masses. I don't mind people clipping or reacting to my how it's actually made videos, but speeding them up and adding club music ruins the comedic timing, and I hate it. And saying all that is still putting aside the obvious fact that the entirety of make or break on YouTube and the internet at large, and by extension all of pop culture now, is dominated by entirely impersonable algorithms, meaning God knows how many refreshing concepts never even see the light of day because digital media consumption thinks most of us would most often enjoy watching things made for most people, which mostly results in crap without substance. I am not without sin, mind you. You have to be equal parts capitalist alongside artist to do what I do here as a full-time career, and I'm not an indignant idiot when it comes to protesting the value of $1, nor the incredibly lucky circumstances in which I have this lifestyle. So maybe it's about time I mentioned this video is mostly about a low-budget ripoff of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills is exactly what it sounds like. It's a piece of shit, made by creators of all sorts of kids' entertainment, Deke, to capitalize on the success of the Americanized tokusatsu wave that dominated the country in the mid-90s. Speaking of being a part-time capitalist, this video is sponsored by Mint Mobile, because I'm not entirely sure this video won't eventually get struck down by copyright in the future. Are you paying $47 billion a month on your phone plan? Probably not, because that would crash the economy, but you're probably paying too much in general. Why not take advantage of Mint Mobile's limited time offer of 50% off of their unlimited wireless plan, meaning it's just $15 a month for a 3, 6, or 12-month plan. Mint provides 5G coverage to 98% of Americans, and 4G LTE coverage to 99% of Americans. But the amount of satisfied Mint Mobile customers is 217% of Americans who sign up for a limited time with the link below. Don't check my math, just trust me, it's true. There's no need to be scared of losing anything ever again because Mint works with any unlocked phone and lets you keep your phone number in all existing contacts when you switch. And activating a new number is as easy as checking your email thanks to eSIM. I did it while practicing my Akumba combos in Street Fighter 6 because my love for the Satsui no Hado is only eclipsed by my love for Mint Mobile. If I can fall in love with a new wireless plan while Shungoku Satsuing my opponents, then you can make the right decision and give it a try. If you don't like it, there's also a 7-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Stop letting your wireless bill break your bank. Get this new customer offer and pay just $15 a month for a 3, 6, or 12-month plan. That's 50% off an unlimited wireless plan at mintmobile.com/Huggbees. That's mintmobile.com/Huggbees. Limited time offer. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 a month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Over 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. I've covered what tokusatsu is in much more depth in a separate video, but to quickly summarize, it's a Japanese style of television and filmmaking that relies on all sorts of stunts, miniatures, forced perspective camera work, practical effects, and full-body costumes to create dynamic action scenes with their own homegrown feel to them. Tokusatsu literally translates directly into English as special filming. I went right to left because Japanese, and it's pretty easy to spot something created under this banner when you notice it. During the decade where your PlayStation didn't have a number after its name, tokusatsu productions in Japan were bought out by Western TV studios and repackaged as American kids shows. Big Bad Beetleborgs? Well, that's just the B-Fighter series wrapped in a children's Boo Haunted House package. VR Troopers? Well, that's just Super Android Metal Dur, Dimensional Warrior Spielbahn, and Space Sheriff Scheider wrapped up in a VR package? I don't know, I never watched this shit. And the big Mighty Morphers themselves, well, they're all just different tokusatsu shows under the Super Sentai brand. And the Wikipedia page literally lists each and every Power Rangers iteration next to the Super Sentai series that it's pulling from. Now, it wasn't unique at all in the mid-90s to try to rip off and outdo the biggest television act at the time next to Seinfeld, but the subject of this video is special because it lacked a certain special something inherent to all of those other shows. What do you think happens when an American company sees the success of something made in an overseas market and decides it's not enough to pay a licensing agreement to save on overall production costs by localizing and streamlining the existing production as best as they can? But instead, they need to own the entire production. What happens is, you get Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills, a title that I will bathe in God's infinite mercy for you by calling it Tattoo Fighters for short. Tattoo Fighters is particularly shitty and crowns itself as the knockoff to End All Knockoffs, because unlike every other tokusatsu rebrand airing in the States, Tattoo Fighters was a wholly original American production not based off of any pre-existing show. It was ripping off a format that was in turn ripping off another format that was made for an entirely different intended audience. A knockoff of something not made with you in mind. So let's review this cash-in crapshoot and see if it's really as terrible as I predict it'll be. Hey, maybe it won't be so bad. Sometimes an American studio reproducing a piece of foreign media turns out great, right? Oh wait, you get that one. That one was actually okay. You can have that one. Okay, I am already gonna stop you right there. This name just pisses me off. They clearly wanted to be the baddest kid on the long title block built by the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but there's no hint of charm or catchiness to this one. Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters could work, hitting a decently satisfying syllable cadence, but then they awkwardly cram in From Beverly Hills to, I don't know, remind you that they're American or something, flex their big title energy like more words somehow means better show, which is hilarious because Japan is the country known for giving their creative works absurdly long titles. If you don't believe me, just read the first chapter of Backstabbed in a Backwater Dungeon. My trusted companions tried to kill me, but thanks to the gift of an unlimited gacha, I got level 9,999 friends, and am out for revenge on my former party members and the world, and then question what the fuck you're doing with your life because who reads that garbage? Now let's get back to my children's TV shows. The intro song is awful and the opening montage largely spoils the first episode, so we're just gonna skip it. We open on a title screen that screams "We have Back to the Future at Home" and says "In the beginning," as if the deep, extensive Tattoo Fighters lore is gonna push little Billy's mom to buy him just one more action figure at the local Toys R Us. Which then transitions to a sci-fi hideout full of aliens so stupid they think two dog toys vibrating in a plastic dome is going to convincingly pass for an interesting space alien doohickey. A rejected Fallout villain sits on his throne next to a Jim Henson puppet that someone pulled out of the garbage when an alien sex slave, which I'm assuming this guy is based on how he kneels before this guy, hands the villain a piece of plastic. The big baddie's name is Emperor Gorganis, and that name in combination with his amazing voice almost convinces me that he's actually kind of cool, until this happens.
What's this? You failed to kill Nimbar. 40 years banishment to a living death in the stricken toil mines.
Whoa! I'm sorry, Emperor Gorganis, but when I'm nervous, I pretend like I'm caught in a riptide. Whoa! Whoa! I'd hate for this to be distractingly taking up all the focus in the frame and undermining your tone-setting intro. Gorganis' plan is, he's evil. He says he wants to conquer Earth to level up his galactic empire because Earth is a portal focal point for some reason. He also sits on his throne like he just noticed his girl crush is coming, and he wants to make sure she notices that his mom bought him some brand new Levi's.
Yes, Ninjabot, the samurai robot, is the perfect choice to prepare the way for my domination.
Ninjabot, the samurai robot. Wouldn't it be Ninjabot, the ninja robot? Or Samurai Bot, the samurai robot? Ninjas and samurai aren't the same thing, man. They have similarities, but they're super different. Imagine if this guy said, "Ah, yes, Christian Bot, the Jewish robot. He'll be the perfect one to teach my followers of the Quran." Also, just look at him. I mean, fucking God. Oh, God. Before we continue, I just wanted to mention that while writing this script, I paused here and had to take a 15-minute break because I was choking with laughter to the point of being unable to continue. But then, I also realized, why does a galactic space emperor from star systems away know what a samurai is, let alone enough to make a borderline racial stereotype version of one? And why is it his first choice to conquer the Earth when the bot's superpowers are... well, just take a look for yourself. So, he can shoot lightning bolts that create comically bad CGI fire overlays, and he can cut through things cleanly, but he's got to awkwardly push him over a little bit to show that he did it. Oh man, the tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills are fucked. Meanwhile, in Beverly Hills, specifically at the Cafe Maison across the street from the Wells Fargo Bank on Rodeo Drive near the Charles David Shoe Store, we meet one of the protagonists, Swinton, who has this excerpt in his Wikipedia character bio. Swinton is the shy, hyper-intelligent brains of the group. Unlike the other teens, he wears glasses and is African American. Oh! You're right! He does wear glasses and is African American! I see that now, thank you, Wikipedia! Swinton's right in the middle of the thrilling excitement of being told off by his father for being an antisocial nerd.
But sometimes in life, you're going to have to learn to work with others. Why?
Yeah, why, Dad? It's not like I'm suddenly going to be recruited into a gang of tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills and have to learn that we'll only succeed through the power of teamwork. That's stupid. You're stupid.
Swinton's dad is a photographer, journalist, I don't know. All he says is he takes photos out in the desert for some reason. And he shows Swinton that he got a photo of Ninjabot, the samurai robot, which is starting to make me question if they've been changing the costumes between shots, because I really want to say these are three totally different facial makeups, but I really can't tell if it's just because of the low fidelity of the DVD rip. You know what? I don't even give a shit anymore. Let's just move on.
Solves my problem. I won't have to work with anybody. Looks like the end of the world.
Yes, everyone's going to be killed by a giant LARPing weeaboo, and I, Swinton, will be the one to prosper because if everyone dies, I won't have to do any more group projects. But then again, who will I combat in friendly games of Warcraft, orcs and humans over my dial-up modem? The possibility of someone ruining my game by picking up the telephone has been eliminated, but so too have my potential opponents. Quite the conundrum to ponder, while I also question if my father's death would even make me sad. Swinton's dad suggests that he learn to work with other students and hands him a list of names of 3 random students from his school that he has for some reason.
Gordon Henley, Lori Foster, and Drew Vincent. Gordon's only concerned about his image. Drew's out to lunch, and Lori, she's a cheerleader.
And unlike those other teams, I wear glasses and am African American. There's no way we could get along.
Meanwhile, in Beverly Hills again, they show this shot transition again despite the fact we're already in Beverly Hills. We cut to some rich dude's house where he boldly left his Mercedes out front with the top down. And seeing how Los Angeles experienced record crime spikes in the 90s, we can assume this person won't be rich for very long. Inside, we spy the other three protagonists, Gordon, Lori, and Drew, waiting for Swinton to sprint in to work on their school science project.
Excuse me? Can somebody give me a hand?
Ugh, God. I can't believe that fucking nerd needs someone to help him with the door as he carries in a completed miraculous science project for our entire group. What a geekazoid, not having more than 2 arms to do both things at the same time. I'm gonna go back home to my mom Machamp and my dad Machamp now and tell them what a loser this guy is. Turns out Swinton already finished the entire project on his own by building a dork machine, and the group begins bickering about it because the other three are far too stupid to realize letting the nerd do the entire project himself perfectly represents the crushing adult world they'll soon be entering into. Somehow, Gordon touching the dork machine in combination with Swinton spilling some extremely poorly placed and easily avoidable soda all over it causes it to rip a ghostly cum stain into existence. The moron is overly curious, the egomaniac thinks they're guaranteed an A with this, the cheerleader asks Swinton what it is, and Swinton says the device was just supposed to measure secondhand smoke in the air, so this shit makes no sense. Here's a picture of a smoke detector from the mid-90s. As you can see, the design really hasn't changed, and I imagine you've got this exact type or a very similar one in your own home. So I just have to ask you, Swinton, what the fuck is this thing? Do me a favor and close your eyes during this next part.
This is real. I think we better deal with it. So, all in favor of exploring this thing, raise your hand.
Drew leaps into the portal, which as far as she or anyone else could have known, sent her to the dimension where Drew leaps into the portal where, as far as she or anyone else could have known, could have sent her to the dimension where you're forced to drink diarrhea all the time. And Swinton, the smartest of the group, knows the only logical conclusion to potentially just having watched your friend die via a cosmic force drowning her in liquid feces is to immediately chase after her. The other two also join in because the plot needs to happen, and after being exposed to a free visualizer that came with Winamp, they wind up in the second-hand smoke dimension, proving Swinton's invention was secretly a success, I guess?
Gordon, it's okay. You can open your eyes. Slowly.
Oh, thank goodness I'm still in one piece.
His name is Luffy. That's Monkey D. Luffy. King of the pirates.
After a bit of quips and confusion, we are finally introduced to the fact that these portal shenanigans were no accident, and we're ready to meet the being who summoned them all here.
I have a name. It is Nimbar, head protector of the power portals and counselor to the galactic sentinels.
A blob. A fucking blob. A living ball of pancreatic cancer is our inspiring intergalactic leader for this series. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our Zordon. Our Master Splinter, our Professor X. This is our wise mentor character who gathers the protagonists together to either bestow them with their powers or unite them to use them for the force of good. This recent medical biopsy with the voice of a saint and the appearance of a shit gone wrong is who children are supposed to look up to as the near omniscient authority in the acts of justice and righteousness. Fact is, I don't want to hear a goddamn thing from a blob. A big old smart brain on a computer console, yeah, I would trust that to give me good decisions, or maybe make this dude a being of pure energy. That invokes an easy mystical god complex, but this living flesh prison would probably pop into a fair bit of pus if I jabbed him hard enough with a pencil, provided I got close enough to even try it if I'm not screaming my head off back through the portal to get away from this grotesque abomination. The 90s was the king of gross-out humor, that's for sure, but this thing doesn't inspire wisdom or leadership. This thing doesn't inspire anything or anyone except reminding me to get my prostate checked every now and then. Show me the store that wants to stock action figures of this abomination, and I'll show you the next business to go the way of Toys R Us in both inventory and stock price. This sentient regurgitation is Nimbar, and he admits he summoned the teens to his cave on purpose to, give them powers to fight evil. It's literally the Power Rangers thing, except these guys don't have attitude or interesting personalities or anything really. But the producers of this show do certainly have corner-cutting senses, because Nimbar gives the group a look at Gorganis, and it's the exact same footage we just saw earlier, except mirrored in what I assume is a cheap attempt to trick the home viewing audience into thinking it's entirely new material. Within 5 seconds of Nimbar explaining that 1. Gorganis is an evil butthole, 2. Earth is this galaxy's conduit of power portals, which are infinite distance teleporters like the one the kids just took, 3. Nimbar is the leader of a galaxy defense force called the Galactic Sentinels that were all wiped out by Gorganis except for Nimbar himself, and 4. Nimbar's trying to defend the universe from Gorganis using Earth as a wormhole subway station. The teens rally to Nimbar's side and believe everything the kidnapping kidney stone has to tell them. I'm not too offended by this because this is a kid's show, so the pacing is of course going to be snappy, but I just fucking hate Nimbar, so I'll take any jab I can get. Swinton suggests they return to Earth to warn the military of the incoming alien invasion, and then this happens.
Your military force would be no match for his alien monsters.
Well, if you need alien fighters, why don't you get some of your galactic sentinels?
I'm currently acting. My character is supposed to be stuck up and egotistical, but my character choice to represent that is that I do that thing with my neck that chickens do, and sometimes other birds. My stepdad hits me a little too hard sometimes.
Us? Alien fighters? Whoa, wait a minute.
Feature that. We're teenage alien fighters.
Cut! You've got to say the whole thing. Tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills. The copyright only works if you say the entire title. And hold up the action figure while you say it. If we can't earn our budget back of $28, then I've got to hide my ass out in Tijuana, and I am sick and tired of saying agua instead of water whenever the arid mesa heat fully crusts my lips over. Nimbar says that of course these kids are going to be the Galactic Sentinels. They bear the Galactic Sentinel tattoos, after all, which results in this line.
May I point out, we don't have any tattoos.
Which results in me getting pissed off again, and then results in Nimbar realizing that he literally forgot to implement the very first word of his overly wordy fighting force, which results in... well, frankly, something I'm sorry I have to show you, but I had to watch it, and now you do too. Okay, I'm gonna recline. Hang on. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, is Nimbar just a little alien man living inside a big ball of gloop? Is he the ball of gloop? But he's got a prosthetic little Halloween hand that he uses to give out tattoos? Why is the hand so flesh-like? It's obscene and gross. Why is no one angry at the fact he's tattooing minors without their parents' express consent? Couldn't he have just given them an alien cell phone communicator or some future shit? Is that Vaseline? Is that Vaseline that he smears on with his tattoo hand? To help it heal properly afterwards? Because that's considerate. Nimbar explains the tattoos will remain hidden until he activates them, and demonstrates this by showing the audience that the tattoos are just a studio hand shining a flashlight on their arm. So at worst, the parents just have to worry if there's an unpaid intern in their house. We get to watch more of the exact footage we saw earlier in this episode, except reversed this time, as Nimbar informs the group that the first assignment for the tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills is to fight Ninjabot the samurai robot. Can you blame me for saying these full terms out loud? I just want to remind myself what I'm doing with my life as an adult in my 30s. There's also a fun editing error where the display prematurely disappears for a single frame that, as an editor myself, is something I would pause the video to point out to people if I was watching it in a group setting, because it's just a mark of carelessness that 99% of people will never notice, but I always notice this kind of shit, and I want to squeeze the low-quality juice out of this television lemon as hard as I can. Anyway, in order to gain their superpowers, the teenagers have to step on Nimbar's Transo discs, which stands for Transactional Time-Space Regenerator Discs, meaning they should actually be called the discs, but whatever. The discs will imbue each of them with the memories and combat abilities of the previous galactic sentinels that they most align with, which in turn all correspond to a constellation within the Milky Way galaxy. Gordon represents the bull Taurus because he follows the rules. Drew represents the centaur because she breaks the rules. Lori represents Scorpio the scorpion because she knows which rules to choose to follow. And Swinton represents the Roman god Apollo because he creates new rules, and this just sucks, doesn't it? This is our naming convention MacGuffin, and it's a pretty weak one at that. This is one of my all-time favorite tropes in media, so I'm going to cover why it sucks here in detail. You know how in a lot of series, characters are named after a group of similar things to provide immediately recognizable design elements and character traits? For example, looking at the obvious inspirations of this show, the original Power Rangers were each based off a different dinosaur. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were each named after a Renaissance artist, and we certainly don't have to stop there for examples. The Sailor Scouts and Sailor Moon were named after celestial bodies, the Gems in Steven Universe were named after minerals, and most importantly of all, the characters in Powers and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure were named after classic rock bands and songs or tarot cards. There's countless more examples out there you can find with just a small bit of Googling, and I would be willing to bet there's a TV Tropes page on this, but I forgot to look it up. The thing that those series capture that Tattoo Fighters doesn't grasp and inevitably comes up short on is, what do these constellations tell anybody? The benefit for theme naming is you either are immediately given information about the roster based on their name, or an idea of what they'll look like thematically, or at a bare minimum, which group they belong to within your fictional framework. If you sit down and tell me about a Dragon Ball Z character that I've never heard of before, I can immediately classify them based solely on their name. With a name related to vegetables or grains, I can identify them as a Saiyan. If it's underwear, they're most likely from the scientist family. If it's an instrument, they're a Namekian space alien. And if it's cold, they're a Frieza. It's stupid, but it's, you know, it's fun. It's Dragon Ball Z. But read again our current protagonist group. Taurus, Centaur, Scorpio, and Apollo. Okay, first of all, as far as I could research, there aren't any constellations named after Apollo. There's ones that are related to him through mythology, such as the Corvus constellation, named after a mythical bird often told in stories with Apollo, but there are no direct constellations named after the guy. I suppose the connection here is Apollo is the sun god in later ancient mythology, and the sun is a star, but Nimbar said their powers come from constellations specifically, so I don't buy it. Second of all, Taurus and Centaur seem really redundant, don't they? Bulls and horses are both similar animals, especially in terms of character design usage, but then for some reason the bull is the rule follower and the half horse, half human is the rule breaker? Yes, in Greek mythology, centaurs are seen as aggressive and wild, but so are bulls in nearly every fictional depiction I can ever imagine, especially if you continue the trend with minotaurs being the most batshit aggressive Greek mythology creatures there are. They may be trying to play off the characterizations from astrology here, but remember, astrology is pure and utter bullshit, and if you leave comments about it, I will promptly ignore them. And third, why is Centaur just named Centaur and not Centaurus after the constellation? If Scorpio's named after the constellation directly and not just Scorpion, and Taurus is named after the constellation directly and not just Bull, then why isn't Centaur named Centaurus? And if it's actually for the Sagittarius constellation, which is also represented by a centaur, then why not call her Sagittarius after the constellation like you did the other two? But then again, where the fuck does Apollo come from in all this? This is very confusing, and I'm probably conflating details here, but I also spent an entire day on this section of the video, and I am really tired of rewriting this script, so I'm now going to move on to my final and ultimately most important point. I understand the theme of they're fighting a star war, so you name them after clusters of stars, but is it just me, or do these names feel really random and disconnected? You've got two animals, a mythical creature, and a Roman god. I just feel like you could have made a stronger connection here. Why not be consistent and run with the Zodiac constellations theme? Just change Apollo to a Zodiac sign and you're golden. And if you want to go with even easier theming, just stick to the real animal signs. You've still got Aries and Leo to use for the ram and the lion. A fighting team made of a scorpion, a bull, a ram, and a Lion getting their powers from the cosmic stars above sounds badass to me. You could even make the comic relief character Cancer or Pisces and make him a dumb sea creature if you wanted. Or hell, even easier, align them to the Chinese Zodiac. Then you don't even have to use fancy pants names. You can call everyone things like ox, rabbit, dragon, or monkey. But then again, that's probably a really bad idea, because knowing the state of 90s kids shows and the colors given to the original Power Rangers this show rips off, they'd probably make the very unfortunate decision of having Swinton be the Monkey Galactic Sentinel and have the group fight Chinese Zodiac Bot, the Korean robot, the perfect one to introduce the world to sushi and sumo wrestling. Nimbar rambles on about how each of them offers something unique to the Galactic Sentinels and then informs them that they can combine their powers to level up even further with a line straight out of a campaign rally from 1940s Germany.
Together you can form a truly powerful warrior. Trust me, I am a superior being.
The gang steps on their discs and shouts out their Sentinel name to activate their superpowers, which is where this entire thing grinds to a screeching halt.
This would take years of working out.
Okay, just play the clip. I know what you're all thinking.
Annihilated.
You will ride eternal, shining and glowing.
Here it is. Here's your iconic superhero team. 4 sweaty, disgustingly ripped bodybuilders, posing as and voiced by in-universe 17-year-olds. It's gross. It's just gross. I don't like it. I don't think any of you out there like it. It's like if Shazam replaced magic with human growth hormone. Whether or not they're all lifting so they can ride along in the war rig all the way to Gastown, they're certainly cheaper to cram into skin-tight, color-coded athletic gimp suits with a bit of car mechanic grade face paint to obscure their real identities than it is to rent pre-existing costumes from a Japanese storehouse. Maybe? See, I don't know if the funds required to borrow a pre-existing Japanese intellectual property would be cheaper than the 16,000 calories a day of catering these 4 need for their collective 2 minutes of screen time. But more importantly, another hot shit property running on television at the time of this dumpster fire's creation was American Gladiators. For the uneducated, it was a sports competition show that pit everyday athletes against living embodiments of protein supplements. Think Ninja Warrior, except the obstacle course was replaced with a 350-pound of muscle reject from the Guns N' Roses fan club named Thunder. And it kicked ass. Unlike this show, which continues to kick my expectations of how shameless it's going to be up and down the block. There's probably references here I'm missing. Comments can let me know if there's any other prominent 90s programming this show ripped off somewhere. I mean, maybe Nimbar is supposed to be the futuristic representation of all 6 friends from Friends smashed together with their future plastic surgeries. I don't know. I just get the sinking feeling this show is somehow even less original than I'm noticing and I miss something. You can call this engagement bait if you want, but your mother claims the same thing when I put a diamond ring on my penis, so why don't we all just calm down a little, huh? The freshly steroided schoolmate stereotypes are transported to the desert where they are immediately ready to beat the shit out of Ninjabot. And the soundtrack is immediately ready to blast me with some of the worst lyrics I have ever heard to anything ever in my entire life.
We've been transformed. Sentinels ready. Got muscles and power. We got new skills. We'll learn to use them well.
We're color-coded heroes, but we're not Power Rangers. Our jumpsuits leave very little to the imagination.
Yeah, so there's more than one reason I specified that this all comes off as gross, and a big one is these costumes are very, very revealing. And in fact, I'm really confident the producers of the show knew this. In the promo material for the show, the female models would often stick their asses and tits out, and the dudes would do the classic dong-out barrel-chest hero pose. It's not uncommon for kids' media to sneak in some entertainment for the parents forced to watch along in the form of adult jokes or pop culture references. And I'll admit my theory that this was all intentional also gets counteracted by the uncanny valley faces all four of them are making here. But regardless, there's a noticeably uncomfortable level of sleaze to this show, and I'll forever be questioning how much of it was a bold choice to really try to go out and fuck over the Power Rangers in the ratings. There's more battling and fighting, and the choreography is extremely wimpy and shitty, and then they all summon CGI weapons that fire CGI at the monster, and it also sucks. Especially when the green one summons her hook sword and fires the CGI beam out of the tiny top blade near the handle instead of the tip of the weapon where you'd expect it to come out. And it's so boring and bad that Ninjabot, the samurai robot, decides to not only fall over before he's hit by the CGI blasts. I mean, look, he does a big old wind up to get his jump maximum distance. But then in the very next shot, he's standing perfectly upright and jumps to fall down again because it sucks. It just sucks. It just really sucks. The tattoo fighters do the honorable thing of shooting the guy while he's down a couple times to make sure he's dead, and Gorganis watches the entire thing on his own monitor that flips the footage for some reason. Getting pissed that the stupid sexy sentinels have returned and are kicking his bargain bin Bushido brute's butt. We then get the classic Super Sentai trope of the main villain giving a power boost to the monster to make it exponentially stronger, which leaves the audience asking, well, why didn't he just do that from the beginning? But I can ignore it because the fun factor of drawing the battle out longer is immediately sucked away by Ninjabot returning to his feet by just reversing the footage. Look, it's one thing to save costs by recycling already shot content from another country and re-scripting it to fit a new narrative, but it's another to save costs by constantly reusing your own footage we just saw like 2 minutes ago. When I visit your buffet, offer me a variety of options I haven't seen before, and I won't be too picky about the quality. Try to convince me to vomit my meal back up so I can taste it again, and I'm calling the manager. Ninjabot, the samurai robot, zaps away the Sentinel's weapons, so they decide to also do the thing they should have done from the very beginning and combine their powers to form Nitron.
Apollo! Taurus!
Centaur! Scorpio! Nitron!
First off, ow. That editing was very obnoxious, and I don't appreciate this show trying to hurt me. Second of all, I don't understand these symbols. We have Scorpio and Taurus on the bottom, it's pretty self-explanatory, but then we have the arrow symbol that represents Sagittarius, since the sign is often represented by both an archer and centaur, meaning centaur does in fact represent Sagittarius and not Centaurus, which throws a whole new string of confusion into my paragraph ranting earlier about their names, especially because Sagittarius typically refers to a specific centaur from Greek mythology who was known to be a wise teacher, which sounds to me like the opposite of a rule breaker that they made Drew out to be. But then there's that pesky symbol over there in the yellow. I'm going to put a big YouTube arrow on it, a big red YouTube arrow. This symbol here is Aquarius. You know, the Zodiac sign represented by the water bearer. Now, what's a water bearer, you might ask? Well, it's a symbol so important and prevalent in modern culture that if you Google the phrase water bearer, all you ever get is results related to astrology and nothing else. There's different stories and myths to explain what the title means, but the most commonly accepted one is that it's someone designated to collect water and fill cups for those who need it, meaning the role's symbolism lies in providing cohesion, support, and harmony to the community, which to me sounds like people in denial, unable to accept their birthday means that they'll forever be stuck as ignorable background workers for the rest of their lives. You want to circle back to convincing me that astrology isn't bullshit? Fine, let's say I believe you. I'm a Scorpio. I am forever destined to be more interesting, charismatic, and successful than you'll ever be. Sorry, folks, it's just what the lonely bloggers tell me is true. Now fill my water cup and get the fuck out of my sight. But no, wait, hey, come back. Wait, come here. Aquarius, come here. I have a question. The fuck does any of this have to do with Apollo? Apollo in early Greek and Roman mythology was the god of light, music, healing, and a myriad of other related things. As time went on, he also became conflated with Helios, the god of the sun, until his modern-day mythological interpretation became that he was the one who rode a golden chariot across the sky to drag the sun along with it. And as far as I can tell, the man never bared a single drop of water in his entire goddamn life. Apollo has nothing to do with Aquarius. Aquarius has nothing to do with Apollo. Why is the scorching bright white sun dude given the symbol of people whose signature catchphrase is, can I get you anything to drink while you look at the menu? All you had to do was draw a sun. That's it. You just draw a sun right there. It's so easy. Look, here's one I drew in MS Paint for you. And it's better than this shit. You know, speaking of which, this looks awfully similar to the logo for my second channel, Huggbees Gamer Mode. The link's in the description. Remember, if you don't watch it every single day, your parents are going to get a divorce and it's all your fault. That's probably not true, but do you really want to risk it? Here's a clip. A spy camera while crouch running.
He's got a camera.
Come on, take a picture. Don't take a picture of that.
You can see the disdain in his eyes.
I probably just need to move on. There's absolutely no part of this show that hinted in any capacity that anyone gave a shit, so why do I give a shit? Except for views and money I get from talking about it. Look, the point is, the marketing team came up with their superhero brandings within 5 minutes of throwing a dartboard at anything star-related, and it really shows the level of desperate cash grab this entire production was. Now we can move on. Jesus Christ, that was lame. When the Power Rangers want to take the battle to a new scale, they summon their loyal dinosaur mechs who come charging like cavalry into battle, and then epically merge into one giant kick-ass Voltron robot. Here, the ill-fitting symbols just kind of Photoshop themselves into a guy who seemingly has nothing to do with any of this. I just ranted for palpable minutes about how unrelated all of this shit is, and now a medieval knight from the Renaissance fair wearing Judge Dredd's helmet is our final form? What the fuck is going on anymore? Even funnier that he's named Nitron in a clear ripoff of Voltron, letting us add another tick to the "you can copy my homework but make sure you change it" counter. They start fighting and it sucks so bad they drop this line.
Use Mega Caliber. It's the most powerful sword in the universe.
You get it? Mega Caliber. It's like Excalibur, but it's mega. Nothing bestows the wonder of an artifact's magical power like a talking teratoma blindly shouting to you, the audience, about how special it is. If this was ironic, I'd love it, but they're trying to convince kids this is cool, and even 10-year-old me would have been smart enough to know there's no passion behind this speedy production, only hopes of a stock price boost. Oh, he's dead now. Okay, well, that's the end of him, I guess. Nitron celebrates in front of stock footage of volcanoes, paint splatters, and starfields on a green screen that actually unironically looks completely worse than my green screen that I'm using right now. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and outdo him right now in something I can whip together in 5 minutes. Here we go. The heroes return to base and are hype as fuck that they all just ended the life of a most likely sentient being while being combined into a single organism sharing one mind, meaning all of them know what the others masturbate to now. And Nimbar warns them that they have to keep their identities a secret or bad stuff will happen and blah blah blah. There's only 3 minutes left. We're almost done. We're almost done. The group portals back home, which is just them walking through a hole in the back of the set with a portal laid over it. When we cut to Gorganis explaining that he's got plenty more aliens to fight and he can also rebuild and reprogram Ninjabot to be even more deadly. And he's holding some stuff in his hands while he explains that fact. I don't know what they are, but they just keep falling out of his palms while he talks, and then he spills them all over the floor, so why the hell was he holding them to begin with? Is it pieces of Ninjabot? How did he get those? The dude was vaporized into nothing, and Gorganis never left his base. Why am I still questioning any of this shit anymore? Meanwhile, in Beverly Hills, specifically at the Cafe Maison across the street from the Wells Fargo Bank on Rodeo Drive, Swinton's now hanging out with his project partners. And Swinton's dad shows up and offers to buy everyone lunch because of how he likes their new camaraderie, because it's the only bit of character growth anyone in the cast experienced this entire episode. They discuss that despite all 4 of them now understanding what it's like to own a penis thanks to Nitron, none of them consider each other friends yet, and are going to maintain distance from one another to help hide their secret identities. Their tattoos flash, and everyone tells Swinton's dad to go fuck himself. It's time to save the world. And I'm gonna leave you with the exact moment that the show ends because it catapults me perfectly into my wrap-up points.
Hey, duty calls.
Right, yeah. After all, we are the tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills.
I would call this show a dime a dozen, but that would be overcharging. The biggest failure of this show, and I mean bigger than any other glaring issue it has, is that if you aired this exact thing on Saturday Night Live or Mad TV, no one would be able to tell the difference. The grotesque, sweaty alter egos played by different actors in borderline sexual costumes, the mismatched bird puppet sidekick alongside the grim dark main villain, the absolutely awful and boring stunt choreography, a questionably racist monster of the week, the special effects made on the school Mac computer that looks like this, the cliche is all fuck full name title drop smashing into the end credits, the overacting coming from the most painfully generic protagonist roster you can imagine, and the list goes on. I cannot tell if this show was parody, homage, or made with full sincerity. And for your show trying to compete with the hottest show on the market, that's a really, really bad idea, especially if an after goal is to push out toy and merch lines. I don't know about you, but nothing I saw in this show is anything that I'd ever wear on a t-shirt, except if it was a shirt that I could have made right now that said Ninjabot, the samurai robot, with a picture of him on it, because I'm still laughing at that. Time and time again, it's been proven that entertainment outweighs people's principles. No matter how often subscription models and prices change, content is removed, and censorship runs rampant, 99% of the viewing audience isn't going to change their viewing habits because it's just not something they care enough about to fight for. Which means entertainment companies will take each and every avenue they can to milk us for every dollar they can find, and cheap knockoffs are one way for them to do so. But the difference between manipulating the distribution system and trying to take someone else's spotlight is that you have to have at least something going for you to get people to tune in. I am happy to announce that although tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills ran for an astonishingly too long 40-episode season, the show received terrible ratings and was never renewed beyond that. If you want to watch the entire show, and I mean the entire show, the whole thing's DVD rip has been uploaded to the Internet Archive, and as far as I can tell, there's no copyright claims around it because I don't think anyone cares about it anymore. But if my video gets it shut down and pulled off due to inflated traffic, I apologize. But then again, who's gonna give a shit either way? And if that does happen, I'll link another video of mine in the comments talking about Masked Rider, which was when the same company that brought Power Rangers to America tried to bring equally popular Japanese tokusatsu show Kamen Rider to the American market. It didn't go well.
Now I've got you! So much for him! Let's find the others!
Maybe it's ironic that this show will be largely forgotten with time in a way equivalent to this very video, as it'll be largely forgotten by the internet thanks to its shrinking attention span and ever-growing content library. And there's no bigger meaning to me discussing this TV show, no poignant takeaway, no message to leave my audience. And yet, there's one very, very important difference between the two. I give a shit. I care about the entertainment I deliver to you. After all, I am Huggbees on YouTube.com reviewing the tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills.
Tattooed teenage.